In 1913, Europe radiated confidence. The continent seemed to stand at the very pinnacle of civilization, its cities alive with the energy of progress and innovation. Cities bustled with life. Grand boulevards teemed with a prosperous bourgeoisie, and the air was thick with optimism. Cafés overflowed with conversation, and the arts flourished in every corner. The future seemed to promise endless progress, as if the wonders of science and industry would only multiply with each passing year. The continent was tightly woven by trade, finance, and even royal bloodlines, fostering a sense of unity and stability. International trains and telegraphs connected capitals, while dynastic marriages linked royal houses from London to St. Petersburg. A gentleman could breakfast in London, conduct business in Paris, and dine in Berlin, crossing borders with ease. The world felt smaller, more accessible, and the idea of a united Europe seemed almost within reach. The elite shared tastes in art and culture, reinforcing the illusion of a rational, ordered world. Concert halls echoed with the music of Strauss and Debussy, while galleries displayed the latest works of modern masters. Yet beneath this glittering surface, industrial capitalism, nationalism, and imperial ambition were generating immense pressures. Factories belched smoke, armies marched in parades, and newspapers stoked patriotic fervor. The working class, organizing under socialist and anarchist banners, felt excluded from the era's prosperity. Strikes and protests hinted at deep social divisions, as millions struggled for better wages and rights. Nations competed fiercely for resources and prestige, masking deep rivalries. Colonial ambitions stretched across continents, and the race for military and naval supremacy intensified old animosities. Most Europeans, however, were preoccupied with daily life, not war. Peace felt normal and guaranteed by modernity. Families gathered for meals, children played in parks, and the spectre of conflict seemed distant, almost unthinkable. But this confidence was built on sand, not stone. Beneath the surface, cracks were forming in the very foundations of European society. The continent's apparent tranquility hid dangerous currents. Tensions simmered just out of sight, waiting for a spark to ignite them. The shock of its sudden collapse would be profound, shattering the illusion of peace and forever altering the course of history. The late 19th and early 20th centuries were defined by an unshakable faith in progress. Electricity illuminated city streets, telegraphs sent messages across continents in moments, and railways stitched together distant lands, making the world feel smaller and more connected than ever before. These technological marvels seemed to promise a future of limitless potential, where every year would bring new wonders and greater prosperity. Art and culture flourished in this atmosphere of optimism. In Paris, cubists and fauvists shattered conventions, while composers like Stravinsky and Debussy reimagined the very language of music. The old certainties of the past were being challenged, and a sense of creative energy pulsed through the cities of Europe. Even the unsettling ideas of Sigmund Freud, probing the hidden depths of the human mind, were embraced as part of a broader quest for understanding. Intellectuals gathered in salons and studies, debating new philosophies and the meaning of modern life. Yet beneath this dazzling surface, the narrative of progress masked deep fragility. Industrialization brought not only innovation, but also crowded urban slums, harsh working conditions, and the rise of revolutionary ideologies among those left behind by prosperity. The very technologies that connected people and promised peace also enabled more efficient killing. Modern rifles, machine guns, and new military tactics hinted at a darker side to progress. The same factories that produced fertilizers to feed millions could, with minor changes, manufacture explosives and poison gas. The line between creation and destruction grew ever thinner. The era's confidence was largely that of the bourgeoisie, wealthy, comfortable, and often blind to the instability beneath their success. In elegant drawing rooms and bustling cafés, they discussed progress as if it were inevitable. They mistook temporary alignment and fragile peace for permanence. believing that diplomacy and commerce would always triumph over conflict. The belief in unending progress blinded leaders to the destructive power they had amassed. Political and military leaders, caught up in the spirit of the age, failed to see the dangers lurking beneath the surface. Europe soared ever higher, its cities gleaming with new architecture and innovation, but all the while, warning signs flickered at the edges, signs that few were willing to heed. In 1913, Europe's great powers stood at the height of their influence, their monarchs and leaders presiding over vast, glittering empires that spanned continents. The world marveled at their pageantry and the apparent stability of their rule, but beneath the surface, cracks were already beginning to show. Their prestige and sense of superiority were deeply tied to the control of immense overseas possessions, stretching from Africa to Asia and beyond. The British and French empires in particular dominated the globe, their flags flying over millions of subjects and their armies stationed in distant lands. Meanwhile, Germany and Italy, eager to catch up, scrambled for colonies of their own, seeking to carve out their place in the imperial order. This fierce competition for territory and prestige fueled global tension. Disputes like the Moroccan crises brought Europe to the brink of war more than once, as rivalries simmered just below the surface. Far from stabilizing Europe, these empires exported their rivalries across the world, turning distant lands into battlegrounds for European ambitions and power struggles. Administering such diverse and far-flung colonies stretched imperial resources thin, while the imposition of foreign rule bred resentment and sparked nationalist resistance movements. Ironically, the liberal ideals of self-determination and freedom that many Europeans cherished began to inspire those living under colonial rule to demand independence and equality. The grand imperial structures, once symbols of power and permanence, were increasingly riddled with internal fractures, costly to maintain and vulnerable to unrest both at home and abroad. Expansion, meant to guarantee security, instead created greater insecurity, fueling arms races, diplomatic suspicion, and a sense that the entire system was teetering on the edge. By 1913, the imperial age had reached its zenith, brittle, proud, and dangerously unstable, its grandeur masking a deep and growing fragility that would soon be exposed to the world. By 1914, militarism was woven into European society. Mass conscription made military service a rite of passage, instilling discipline and patriotism. War was romanticized in schools, novels, and songs, masking the grim reality of industrial conflict. A relentless arms race, especially between Britain and Germany, consumed national budgets. Military leaders gained political influence, crafting rigid war plans like Germany's Schlieffen Plan. These plans created momentum toward war, limiting political options in a crisis. No leader truly wanted war, but society was primed for it. Europe had built a magnificent war machine, dangerously ready to be used. Nationalism surged, transforming the nation-state into the era's dominant ideal. In multi-ethnic empires, it became explosive. Poles, Czechs, and South Slavs demanded self-determination. Nationalism grew aggressive, fueled by social Darwinism and rivalry. Schoolbooks and media stoked paranoia, demonizing rivals and minorities. Mass politics amplified nationalist fervor. Politicians exploited patriotic sentiment to unite populations. The press inflamed public opinion, making diplomatic compromise nearly impossible. National honor became sacred. Any slight could provoke crisis. Combined with alliances and arms races, even minor incidents could spiral out of control. Nowhere were these tensions more volatile than in the Balkans. As Ottoman power waned, Serbia sought to unite South Slavs, threatening Austria-Hungary's fragile empire. The Balkan Wars of 1912-13 left Serbia emboldened, and Austria-Hungary alarmed. The region simmered with unresolved disputes and nationalist fervor. Russia backed Serbia. Germany supported Austria-Hungary. The Balkans became a proxy battleground for Europe's alliances. A local crisis here could ignite a continent-wide war. Europe's diplomatic system was elaborate but brittle. Two rigid alliance blocs, the Triple Alliance and Triple Entente, turned politics into a zero-sum game. Secret treaties and military plans replaced trust with brinkmanship. Each crisis left deeper mistrust, making the next more dangerous. No permanent institution existed for mediation. Everything depended on hurried conferences and personal ties. Diplomacy became subordinate to military timetables. Generals pressured leaders for swift decisions, shrinking the window for negotiation. In the end, war could be triggered not by diplomats, but by a train schedule. The years before 1914 were marked by an armed peace. Outward calm, inward tension. Europe was a fortified camp, bristling with armies and battleships. Military spending soared, straining national budgets. The security dilemma drove a spiral of escalation. Each state's defense was another's threat. Daily life continued as normal, masking the underlying danger. Many believed economic interdependence made war irrational, but this ignored nationalism and rigid military plans. The peace was a thin crust over deep antagonisms. Europe was holding its breath, poised on the edge of catastrophe. By summer 1914, Europe's civilization was magnificent but fragile. The long peace bred complacency. War seemed unthinkable to most. Yet the forces of nationalism, industrialism, and imperialism had created a trap. Alliances and military plans stripped leaders of flexibility. The peace depended on no single spark igniting the system. In Sarajevo, that spark would come, a gunshot shattering the illusion and plunging Europe into catastrophe. The lights were about to go out, ending the age of certainty.